for as individuals as to exactly how they're going to vote. But I'd like to hear from John Bolton.
The defense wraps up its arguments in the impeachment trial. Will witnesses now be called?
And no joke, within the past 2 weeks, this place is completely turned upside down.
And as the coronavirus continues to spread in China, we speak with a Latham native stuck in the middle of it all.
From WNYT Albany, News Channel 13 live at 4 begins right now.
Good afternoon, I'm Jerry Gretzinger.
And I'm Karen Terrace. Benitez off today. We begin with breaking news. Authorities say a man has died in a tragic industrial accident in Columbia County.
Emergency crews responded to ADM milling on Route 23B in Greenport this morning. Kumi Tucker has been following the response as it's unfolded. She joins us now live from the scene where she's got the latest. Kumi, fill us in.
Karen and Jerry, we're standing here across the street from ADM in Greenport. Many of the emergency vehicles have left the scene. There are still some remaining, though, behind the building mostly. The parking lot, which had a lot of cars in it earlier today, has mostly emptied out. We are told that this business has certainly shut down for the day in face of this tragedy. Now, investigators are looking into this industrial accident, which authorities say was fatal. The ADM milling facility is on Route 23B in Greenport, just outside of Hudson. Fire companies, including Greenport and the Columbia County Sheriff's Department, EMS crews, and others responded to a 911 call this morning at around 10:20 a.m. for a cardiac arrest for a man in the elevator area. We're told in the elevator chute. One employee is dead. In the early afternoon, we saw fire ladders extended up and people walking around the top of the building near the gray towers. Also, the Columbia Green Technical Rescue Team, which is trained in rope rescues and extrication and other things, is also here. Investigators say the response was a difficult one because of the walkways and towers and ladders and access to remote areas. Authorities describe the ADM employees as a close-knit group. The company has been around for many years, and this tragedy has certainly hit the workers hard. Right now, the Sheriff's Department Mobile Command Center is still here on the scene, and a few other emergency vehicles. There are also people here from OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Sheriff's investigators say they are not releasing the name of the victim at this point. We do expect to learn more from some sheriff's investigators this evening, and of course we will bring you the very latest here. Reporting live in Greenport, Kumi Tucker, News Channel 13. Back to you, Karen and Jerry.
All right, thanks, Kumi.
Now, we're also following breaking news in Albany County.
There's been a mistrial declared in the sex abuse case against a former radio DJ. Jim Cabrick is live at the Right Now News Center with the developments. Jim.
After 3 days of deliberations, jurors were deadlocked in Brian Angelo's trial. The judge called a mistrial and sent the jury home. Angelo is better known as DJ IROC. He was facing a charge of sex abuse against a child. We spoke with the Albany County DA's office late this afternoon, and they say the case will be retried on March 9th. Same judge, new jury. Jerry and Karen, back to you.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Well, it was another quiet January day.
Yeah, and compared to some Januaries, I guess we'll be happy with quiet.
That's right.
Right? Chief Meteorologist Bob Kovacic standing by in the Weather Center. Hey, Bob.
Jerry and Karen, indeed, you're right. Another quiet day. A little colder than yesterday, a bit more of a breeze, so there's a little more of a wind chill going on this afternoon. Up in Lake George now in our CDPHP First Warning Cam at Hall's Boats. Pretty heavily clouded, as is in many parts of the area today. 34 degrees with a north breeze at about 11 miles an hour. So a bit of wind chill kicking in there. And also down at Catskill where it's 36 degrees and a northwest breeze at 12 and the wind chill at 30. So a breezy, chilly, and mostly cloudy afternoon across the area. Not much change tonight, although it will be colder as the night progresses with a few clouds. We'll call it clear to partly cloudy later on tonight, down to the upper 20s by the midnight hour. And for tomorrow, starting out near 24, partly cloudy, cold, but should be a day that will bring increasing sunshine, but cold and a bit breezy. 30 at lunchtime and 33 late tomorrow afternoon. So we'll check out the rest of the week and see if there's any changes as far as the quiet weather pattern is concerned. We'll check that for you coming up in just a few minutes. Jerry.
Thank you, Bob. In the last hour, President Trump's legal team wrapped up its arguments in the impeachment trial. The
president's attorneys took aim at the Bidens today, and Republican senators are considering if former National Security Advisor John Bolton should testify. Susan McGinnis reports.
We're adjourned.
President Trump's legal team ending its final day of arguments in the Senate impeachment trial, speaking for less than 2 hours today, making their case for an acquittal.
You know what the right answer is. for the American people.
But shockwaves outside the Senate chamber continue today after revelations about a forthcoming book by former National Security Advisor John Bolton. The New York Times quotes sources who have seen the manuscript as saying President Trump admitted he withheld aid to Ukraine in an effort to get political dirt on the Bidens. The president's lawyer is trying to minimize the Bolton revelations.
Are you going to allow proceedings on impeachment to go from a New York Times report about someone that says what they hear is in a manuscript?
But the Bolton story putting pressure on Republicans who don't want witnesses at the trial.
Well, Mr. Sekulow, President Trump, we want to get witnesses. You can bring Bolton right into this chamber and he can swear under oath and be cross-examined by you.
Democrats need 4 Republicans to join them later this week when the Senate votes on witnesses.
I don't think they're all settled as a group or as individuals as to exactly how they're going to vote. But I'd like to hear from John Bolton.
And if Bolton testifies, Republicans say he won't be alone.
If people want witnesses, we're going to get a lot of witnesses.
The president's defenders raising the prospect of calling the witnesses they want to hear from, beginning with Joe Biden and his son. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
The coronavirus is spreading rapidly. There are now more than 4,500 confirmed cases in China. Here in the U.S., there are 5 confirmed cases, with 110 people being evaluated. American health officials are advising travelers to avoid all non-essential trips to China because of the virus. And the State Department is chartering a plane to get as many Americans home as possible. Coming up at 4:30, we speak with a Latham native who is in the middle of the outbreak in China.
We have new information on a standoff last night in Selkirk. Police were called to a home on Miller Avenue to do a welfare check, and officers say the man living there verbally threatened them, barricaded himself inside the house. After negotiating for 6 hours, Thomas Friss was taken into custody. He's charged with criminal contempt and taken to a medical facility to be evaluated.
The person who crashed an SUV into a home in Albany this morning is still on the run. It all started on the UAlbany campus. Officers say they tried to pull over the driver for running a stop sign. They didn't stop and turned onto Western Avenue. University police stopped the pursuit. A short time later, the SUV crashed into the house. The driver took off on foot. Let's start our 4 at 4. We're beginning our daily briefing of 4 stories making headlines around the world.
President Trump has unveiled his long-awaited Middle East plan. It was celebrated by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, but is being opposed by Palestinians who say it favors Israel.
Mr. Trump's plan calls for the creation of a state of Palestine with its capital in East Jerusalem, while recognizing Israeli sovereignty over major settlement blocks in the West Bank. The plan was created without input from Palestinian leaders, and they already had rejected it before the president unveiled it at the White House with Netanyahu by his side. Coming up on News Channel 13, live at 4, remembering an icon.
He is not just a person, he's a generation.
Tributes continue to pour in for Kobe Bryant tonight. Meanwhile, the NTSB sharing new video of the helicopter crash site.
Plus, fighting hate crimes, why the U.S. Attorney General is making a policy shift.
I'm Dan Levy at the Capitol with a situation that some say is unconscionable and untenable.
This is a massive problem, not just in New York, but in the entire country.
Coming up, will there be epic changes ahead?
Coverage you can trust. With Benita Zahn, Jerry Gretzinger, Chief Meteorologist Bob Kovacic, and Meteorologist Paul Cayano. This is News Channel 13, live at 4.